Hello everyone, this is part 3 of my video response series to Taylor X04's video, Apologist in Error, Ravi Zacharias. Before watching the rest of this video, I strongly advise that you first go back and watch parts 1 and 2 if you've not already done so. And having said that, let us continue. In part 2, I ended by giving an illustration of a conversation that I had with an atheist who said that the New Testament laws in the Bible contradict those of the Old Testament. I ended the illustration in asking the atheist a question that revealed a contradiction in his argument. And now I will give my direct answer to Taylor's question about whether or not the Christian moral law is objective. My answer to this question, Taylor, is that if the Bible says that the human heart is desperately wicked, then it is illogical to say that all the laws stated in the Bible were given by God. Rather, the religious leaders saw this as an opportunity to take the initial law into their own hands, so that this way they could be justified in their own sinful actions and lust for power. So the Bible is not only stating that stating some of the laws that God gave, just in the Ten Commandments. It is also stating actual events in which the religious leaders took the laws into their own hands. That doesn't prove that God's law is contradictory. That is precisely one of the reasons as to why Jesus had come to earth. Jesus made it very clear to the people that he never came to destroy the law. He came to establish it. The reason why is because the church had become so corrupt by the power of the Pharisees at that time that Christ went completely against the culture and the law of that time, as Dr. Ravi Zacharias states. You may ask about the killings that God performed himself, which allegedly show that his moral law is contradictory. I will not have enough time to answer this objection. However, I will be more than happy to post up a video on that if you wish. Moving on, you reference the passages from 1 Corinthians 11:3 and 1 Corinthians 14:34-35, saying that they were laws that were against women's rights. I agree. However, that only at best proves Ravi's point yet again. You have to remember that Ravi said in the video, never take a passage out of context. What you have done is taken those verses out of context from the entire passages, especially since you have only referenced small portions of those passages. The true context of those verses shows that the laws about keeping a woman quiet in church, cutting off her hair if she does not cover up her head, and the man being the head of the woman were the laws at the time that were fabricated by the religious leaders themselves. They were not laws given by God. That is precisely why the resurrected Jesus revealed himself to the women first. That is also why he went to the woman at the well and told her everything about herself so that she would go to tell others about him being the Messiah. If Jesus is who he claimed to be, then logically the Pharisees were wrong in saying that women are not equal. So the Bible does not condone sexism, it condemns it. Passages that support this further are Acts chapter 17, Romans chapter 2, 1 Peter chapter 1, and Galatians chapter 2. Now, in reference to your quote regarding Immanuel Kant and John Locke, and how even Christians have trouble agreeing on what is objectively moral according to their beliefs, let me point out that even Immanuel Kant said this in his written work Critique of Pure Reason. Criticism alone can sever the root of materialism, fatalism, atheism, free-thinking fanaticism, and superstition, which can be injurious universally, as well as of idealism and skepticism, which are dangerous, chiefly to the schools and hardly allow of being handed on to the public. Ultimately, Kant, who was a churchman, was saying that atheism, naturalism, skepticism, and all those other positions provide no universal solution and are not truly logically sufficient and positions to take as they present dangerous universal entailments within their assumptions. He is also saying in that they are not truly free and cannot be relied upon when we, by our human nature, are confined to think morally and logically. Ironically, Immanuel Kant assumed that because we are conditioned by our human nature, then we can therefore posit a logically sufficient moral basis without needing to posit God as the source. This is systematically contradictory, because if Kant rejected atheism, materialism, and skepticism as he admitted, then logically the only other option that he should have logically assumed was that God was the source for morality. Therefore, referencing Kant fails on this account. Then you go on to say, quote, as evidence for the Bible's appreciation of women, Zacharias refers a story known as pericope adulterae that is not included in earliest manuscripts and codices, reference to Wikipedia, unquote. Whether or not the pericope is part of the earliest Gospels of John, it does not discredit the other parts in the Bible that Ravi referenced, which talk about women being equal to men. Simply citing individual verses from passages that contain many more verses does not make your case clear, because that leads to taking verses out of context, which was one of Ravi's essential points. I will stop there, and I will continue on with recording the rest of part 4 of this series. So everyone take care, and God bless.